Hello and welcome to a Squadron 42 monthly report. We look at where Star Citizen's single-player campaign progress lies and what's being worked on now in September. There are still no hard dates on Squadron 42 Episode 1. We're still waiting on their new Briefing Room series that will look at Squadron 42's development and features, as well as the new roadmap that's also being worked on for both Squadron 42 and Star Citizen's Persistent Universe. We do now have at least a mock-up of that roadmap. Basically, it's conveying more accurate and detailed information on each given feature, its sprints and teams allocated to it, so we should have a much better sort of time frame for a lot of this stuff. We don't yet have an indication of when Squadron 42 Episode 1 will be released beyond rumour, but with the announcement of the GeForce 3000 series recently, it's likely that we all will be able to play it as intended when it's released. So it'll be interesting to see if that does affect the development, at least with the sort of scalability of Squadron 42 and Star Citizen, them going, well, these graphics cards are much more mainstream and now we can have a load more stuff going on screen without having to sort of rein it back. So that'll be interesting. So let's have a look at the monthly report for Squadron 42. Though a significant portion of the AI team's work is relevant to both Squadron 42 and the Persistent Universe, some ongoing tasks are exclusive to the single-player campaign, at least at this stage. This includes continued iterations on Vanduul melee behaviour and the Vanduul lance weapon. The melee behaviour now automatically evaluates the suitability of specific actions, whether that be dodging, jump attacks, melee actions. Regarding melee attacks, damage is now triggered by collision with the weapon's blade to enable timing and assets to be tweaked and adjusted. The Vanduul lance has several states that can be utilised by the behaviour, including extending it when preparing for melee attacks or keeping it collapsed when firing or aiming. These weapon state modifications are triggered by the behaviour based on general context. Vanduul health was also further developed to reflect the different skeleton and activate the correct damage when it receives hits to different areas. Character artists finished modelling and texturing the Vanduul armour and passed it to the tech artists for rigging. They've also further developed the Vanduul language, which also included a deeper dive into the alien race's culture. For social AI, they recently devised bridge crew behaviour. This now uses operator seat functionalities, expanding out their idle and fidget animations, basically. There's a lot more that crew will do while they're sitting down in their seats, so they'll look like they're actually running the ship, but they'll also maybe talk to each other and look around and play with their console and sort of like do weird fidgets and stuff. Well, not weird fidgets, normal, natural fidgets. Squadron 42 specific behaviours and functionalities were set up for vendor characters. Work also started on usables for the mess hall that will allow NPCs to collect and consume food. When complete, NPCs will be able to collect cutlery and plates and serve themselves food, and then occupy seats to eat and drink. The social design team continued to work on scenes, usables, and NPC behaviours. They moved 10 scenes to the gold standard level, where everything plays out as expected in the final game. These scenes vary in complexity to give the team an accurate representation of how long it will take to complete their tasks for the rest of the game. The level design team continued to polish the ground-based levels while maintaining a strong focus on AI behaviours and multiple traversal routes. The development of important dogfight locations continued as well, making them both challenging but also look great with spacescaping. The character team revisited a few key heads and faces, clearing up sort of skin textures, refining hair and facial animations. They also began coordinating with tech animation on the Xi'an race, ironing out major anatomy and animation issues. Cinematics continued to make things look more, well, cinematic. In scenes where you are focused on a character, they can blur the background subtly, and they've been improving the character light rigs so that they look more cinematic and awesome. Several scenes moved past the implementation complete phase and into production. Once production is complete, scenes are fully playable and deemed almost shippable, though a final pass is required to tweak and finalize lighting, VFX, UI, and animation. Attention was also given to sequences that play out if the player reaches a game over condition due to behaviour not befitting a UEE naval officer. I assume that's like attacking co-pilots or friendlies or going AWOL, things like that, absent without leaves, you know, going out of your mission parameters and just flying off. Interrupts were added to several chapters as part of ongoing scene work as well. Gameplay story continued to work through the key introduction of a ship early in the game, and 2 days of mocap were completed in the Derby studio. It was a little more challenging to work in the COVID-safe environment, but it was also great to get back into the studio after such a long hiatus, said the gameplay story team. This has has enabled the team to complete some long-standing tasks that could not be addressed through hand keying alone. Narrative reviewed the game and completed scenes and started to call out potential moments that could benefit from additional content, such as filling in potential lulls or calling out gameplay mechanics. After scripting, the hope is to record placeholder versions of audio to block into the game and see how it plays. This approach will allow them to field test new lines and iterate on them long before official capture. A new concept for a medical device used in some of the larger ships was also completed. Tech Art also continued to support gas clouds, which are predominantly now in their bug fixing phase. They also worked on some bits and bobs that will allow them to ultimately have high quality explosions, smoke, fire effects, better looking clouds, all that sort of jazz as well. And that's it for the Squadron 42 report this time. But what do you think? When do you think we'll see Squadron 42 Episode 1 release? Will it be mid to late 2021? Are you excited to see the Vanduul in-game? It did say that a lot of the Vanduul stuff was specific to Squadron 42, or at least suggested that. Now, I don't think that can be the case long term, because obviously we want to see the Vanduul in-game in the persistent universe, but obviously in the shorter to mid-term, I suppose it makes sense that we don't see them, but we'll have to wait and see. And obviously they're working on the Xi'an as well, so I would expect to see the Xi'an in Squadron 42. Yeah, I'm interested to know your thoughts on all of that and more in the comments down below. What am I shilling for today, I hear you ask? Do you hate it when people steal all of your money and your house over the internet? I know I do. NordVPN may have been invented by wizards to help protect your personal data from the prying eyes of the dark web, a sinister cabal of technomancers that grow in power the more they know about your browsing habits. The true story of NordVPN's origins are unknown and lost to the ages, and without using facts, no one really knows how it provides more accessibility to otherwise censored websites or a safer security experience for all that use it. All I know is that it does, and that when you sign up to it, the power level of my bank account grows, and I use it, and maybe you should too. Every month we have a giveaway for a Star Citizen ship. For this month of September, it's for the Talon Light Fighter, the Battlebird Glass Cannon. Just comment on any of my videos made during September 2020 to be in for a chance of winning that. That ship should be flyable by the end of the year. If you'd like to further support the channel, there is Patreon or YouTube channel memberships via the join button down below. That will net you some exclusive content each month, but sharing videos, liking, subscribing, dinging the bell, as well as commenting and giving feedback really does help the channel to grow and give me an idea of what you guys want. Thanks very much for watching, you take care, and I'll see you in the verse.